My wife was tracking my location through iPhone until my phone got stolen and I came home early, only to discover her secret. The past 24 hours have been surreal, and I need to get this off my chest. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F. Let's call her Sarah, for 6 years, together for 9. We met through mutual friends in grad school, and it was one of those relationships that just felt right from the start. She's always been a bit anxious and had trust issues due to her past relationships, but I thought we'd worked through that. About 2 years ago, Sarah started insisting that we share our locations with each other through our iPhones. It started after one of her friends discovered her husband was cheating through Find My iPhone. Sarah became obsessed with the idea that this was necessary for a truly honest marriage. I remember her exact words. "If we have nothing to hide, why would we mind?" I agreed, partly because I genuinely had nothing to hide, and partly because it seemed to give her peace of mind. Looking back, there were so many red flags I ignored. She would casually mention my whereabouts in conversation. "Oh, I saw you went to Starbucks today. Check why I took an unusual route home. The GPS showed you went down Oak Street instead of Main." Or question brief stops during my commute. "Why were you stopped at the gas station for 15 minutes? Yesterday started like any normal Monday. I work in software sales, and I had a lunch meeting with a client at this new Thai place downtown. As I was walking back to my car, checking some work emails, this kid on a bike just snatched my phone right out of my hands. I couldn't even process what happened for a few seconds. By the time I started running after him, he was long gone. I needed my phone for work. I had 3 virtual client meetings that afternoon, and all my presentation links were in my emails. I decided to head home and grab my old iPhone from our bedroom drawer. I didn't bother calling Sarah, using a colleague's phone, because I figured she'd be at work, and I was already running late for my next meeting. As I turned onto our street around 1:30 p.m., I noticed 2 things that made my stomach drop. Sarah's red Mazda in our driveway, and a familiar gray Honda Civic parked about 3 houses down. The Civic belonged to Mike, 38M, her coworker from the marketing department. The same Mike who started at her company 8 months ago. The same Mike she said I was being ridiculous about when I mentioned they seemed quite friendly at the company Christmas party. I still don't know why, but I parked my car around the corner instead of in the driveway. Maybe some part of me already knew what I was about to walk into. As I approached our house, I could hear music playing, "Make You Feel My Love" by Adele. Sarah always said that was our song, from our first dance at our wedding. The front door was locked, but I have a key. I opened it as quietly as possible, and the scene that greeted me will probably haunt me forever. There were 2 wine glasses on our coffee table. Sarah's blouse was thrown over my favorite reading chair, and there they were on our sectional sofa, the one we spent 3 months saving up for. The next few minutes are both crystal clear and completely blur in my memory. Sarah screamed. Mike jumped up like he'd been electrocuted. There was a lot of scrambling for clothes. Sarah crying, Mike mumbling something about, "This isn't what it looks like. Seriously, what else could it be?" I didn't say a word. I just walked to our bedroom, got my old phone from the drawer, and walked out. Sarah followed me, half-dressed, begging me to let her explain. I remember her grabbing my arm, saying something about how it was a mistake, and it only happened a few times. I just shook her off and left. I drove around aimlessly for hours. My phone kept blowing up with calls and texts from Sarah, both on my old number and our landline. Around 7 p.m., I checked into a Holiday Inn. That's when the messages started getting interesting. First, she tried the classic, "It's not what you think." Then, "Mike means nothing to me." Then, "I was going to end it, I swear." The latest one, "You're partly to blame too. You've been so distant lately." The real kicker? She actually had the audacity to ask why I didn't tell her I was coming home, as if I was the one who did something wrong by not announcing my arrival to my own house. Looking back now, everything makes sense. The location sharing wasn't about trust, it was about control. She needed to know where I was at all times to plan her rendezvous. Some other things are clicking into place too. Her sudden gym membership 3 months ago. She hates working out. The new lingerie I never saw. Her phone always being face down. The girls' nights that she came home from wearing different clothes than she left in. The mysterious work projects that required late nights with the team. Her password changing on her phone from my birthday to facial recognition. The weird reaction when I suggested we go to that Thai place for dinner. Turns out that's where she and Mike had their lunch dates. I'm sitting in this hotel room now, drinking minibar whiskey and trying to figure out what to do next. Part of me wants to go home and demand a full explanation. Another part wants to never see her face again. The thought of them together in our house on our furniture, with our wedding song playing, I feel physically sick. I did take pictures before I left. Thank God for that old phone's camera. Though it felt sleazy doing it. I've already called a lawyer and have an appointment tomorrow morning. I took screenshots of our location sharing history, showing her car at Mike's address multiple times. I've downloaded all our bank statements showing unexplained purchases and hotel charges. The irony is killing me. Her obsession with tracking my location is what led to me catching her. If my phone hadn't been stolen, if I hadn't needed to go home for the old one, how long would this have gone on? Questions for anyone who's been through this. Should I even bother hearing her explanation? Do I tell her family? They've been like my own family for 9 years. Should I inform her company's HR? They have a strict policy about manager-subordinate relationships. Yes, he's technically her superior. How do I handle living arrangements? The house is in both our names. How do you ever trust anyone again after something like this? Update 1. Holy shit, this blew up. Thank you all for the support and advice. Update 2. To address common questions. No kids, thank God. House is in both our names, bought 3 years ago. Yes, I've already frozen our joint accounts. Yes, I have copies of all evidence in multiple places. No, I haven't told anyone except you guys and my lawyer. Yes, Mike is married with 2 kids. Found his wife on Facebook, debating whether to tell her. Edit 3. Sarah just sent me a novel-length email about how we can work through this, and how couples counseling could help. She actually wrote that maybe this happened for a reason, and we could come out stronger. Is she delusional? Update. Holy hell. Mike's wife just found me on Facebook and sent me a message. Apparently, Sarah called her claiming I was mentally unstable, and might make up stories about her and Mike. They're trying to get ahead of the story. What kind of twisted people am I dealing with here? Based on the original post style and emotional depth, here's a continuation update. Update 3. After Mike's wife reached out to me on Facebook, we agreed to meet at a quiet coffee shop away from our usual neighborhoods. Let's call her Lisa. She brought a stack of printed messages and photos she'd found on Mike's cloud backup. Turns out Sarah and Mike weren't just having a physical affair. They had been planning a future together. The messages went back at least 6 months. They had discussed leaving their spouses, moving to Seattle, where Mike's company is opening a new office, and even looked at houses online together, all while Sarah was tracking my every move and playing the devoted wife at home. Lisa showed me messages where Sarah complained about me. Apparently, I'm emotionally unavailable and too focused on work. This coming from the woman who was sleeping with her boss on our wedding song playing couch while I was trying to chase down a phone thief. The real gut punch? They had a shared photo album. Pictures of them at restaurants I suggested we try, places I wanted to take Sarah but she always had an excuse not to go. There's even a photo of them at the beach resort where we had our honeymoon. They went there during one of her business trips 2 months ago. Sarah hasn't stopped trying to contact me. She showed up at my hotel this morning. How did she even find me? Causing such a scene that security had to escort her out. She's switching between begging for forgiveness and threatening me. Apparently, if I tell HR, she'll claim I was abusive. Because obviously, I'm the problem here. I met with the lawyer today. He says I have a strong case for an at-fault divorce in our state, especially with all the evidence. The location tracking history, bank statements, and photos are apparently a gold mine. We're filing tomorrow. The hardest part was calling her parents. Her dad has been like a father to me since my own passed away 3 years ago. When I told them, her mom broke down crying. Her dad was silent for a long time before saying, "Son, I'm so sorry. You'll always be family to us." That broke me more than anything else. I still haven't been home. My friend Jake is going with me tomorrow to get some clothes and essential documents. The lawyer advised documenting everything in case Sarah has damaged or removed anything. Lisa and I have decided to submit all evidence to their company's HR department next week. Mike's promotion to regional manager, which would have taken him to Seattle, is probably off the table now. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. The weirdest thing? Sarah's sister just called. Apparently, Sarah told the family that I had been distant and controlling, and that Mike was just a shoulder to cry on. When her sister heard my side and saw the evidence, she was horrified. She revealed that Sarah had done something similar in college, breaking up her best friend's relationship. I wish I'd known this 9 years ago. I keep asking myself how I missed the signs. How did I not see that her obsession with my whereabouts was projection? How did I not question all those late nights and sudden plans? Then I remember, I didn't look for signs because I trusted her completely. That's what you're supposed to do in a marriage, right? The hotel minibar is empty now, but I'm clearer than I've been in months. Tomorrow we file for divorce. Tomorrow I start untangling 9 years of my life from a lie. To everyone who offered advice and support, thank you. You helped me stay strong when I was tempted to believe her gaslighting. I'll update again after we file tomorrow. P.S. Found out my stolen phone was dumped in a trash can behind a convenience store. In a weird way, that thief did me a huge favor. I should send him a thank you note if I ever find him. Final update. It's been exactly 6 months since that Monday afternoon when a phone thief inadvertently changed my life. I've been meaning to post this final update, but I needed time to process everything. The divorce was finalized last week. In the end, Sarah's attempts to paint me as the villain backfired spectacularly. Her threats to accuse me of abuse fell apart when my lawyer presented her location tracking obsession, along with text messages showing her admitting to the affair to her sister. We sold the house. Thankfully, the market was good, and after settling debts, split the proceeds. The HR investigation at their company was swift. Both Sarah and Mike were terminated for violating company policies. Mike's wife Lisa filed for divorce too. Turns out this wasn't his first affair, just the first time he got caught. His move to Seattle? Cancelled. Last I heard, he's working at a smaller firm for significantly less pay. Sarah's life imploded pretty dramatically. After losing her job, she moved back in with her parents. She's still trying to contact me occasionally. Last month she sent me a 12-page handwritten letter about how she's changed and realized what she lost. Her dad called me after receiving it to warn me and apologize again. He's still checking in on me regularly, and we meet for golf every other weekend. Some family you choose to keep. As for me, I'm doing better than I expected. The company I work for has been incredibly supportive. I took a 2-week vacation to clear my head, first real vacation in years, then threw myself into work. Last month, I was promoted to regional director. I turned it down though. I'm done with the West Coast for now. I moved into a new apartment in a different part of town. It's smaller than our house, but it's mine. No location sharing, no explanations needed for my whereabouts, no one questioning why I took the long way home. The freedom is honestly intoxicating. Dating? Not yet. I've had offers, including, surprisingly, from Lisa. That was an awkward but honest conversation about trauma bonding. But I'm not ready. My therapist says that's normal and healthy. I'm learning to trust my instincts again, and right now they're telling me to focus on myself. The stolen phone? It eventually turned up at a police station. Some good Samaritan found it in that convenience store dumpster and turned it in. When I got it back, I had 47 missed calls and 156 messages from Sarah from that day. I didn't read them. Instead, I donated the phone to a women's shelter and bought myself a new one. New number, new start. Some unexpected positives have come from this whole mess. I'm in the best shape of my life. Turns out the gym is great for processing anger. I've reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with. I finally started that photography course I've been putting off for years. I adopted a dog, a goofy rescue lab who doesn't care about my past and loves unconditionally. Looking back at my original post, I barely recognized that shell-shocked guy in the hotel room. The questions I asked then seem so clear now. Should I even bother hearing her explanation? No. Cheaters' explanations are just justifications for their choices. Do I tell her family? Yes. The truth always comes out anyway. Should I inform HR? Absolutely. Actions have consequences. How do I handle living arrangements? One day at a time with good legal advice. How do you ever trust anyone again? You learn to trust yourself first. To that phone thief out there, wherever you are, thanks, buddy. You probably thought you were just grabbing an iPhone, but you actually handed me back my life. This will be my last update. This chapter of my life is closing, and it's time to start writing a new one. To everyone who followed this journey and offered support, thank you. Your words helped more than you know. Time to go walk the dog. Thanks for listening. Tell me what you think in the comments, like and subscribe. See you next story.